Stay tuned to PBS 39 as we focused on history, education, and community. A survivor of the 1979 Iranian hostage crisis shares his story with local high school students in Easton. And in Bethlehem, we visit an elementary school sharing the 7 habits of highly effective people. These stories plus more character education and cookies with the Girl Scouts right now on Focus. Focus is for our community.
Focus showcases the people,
the places, and the issues that matter to you.
Focus on what matters.
You never know what you're going to see when you tune into Focus.
Support for Focus is provided by Univest, Banking, Insurance, Investments, Fellowship Community, Continuing Care with Spirit, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Laura McHugh, broadcasting from the PPL Public Media Center in Bethlehem. Coming up, we focus on education and community, but first we focus on history. In our top story, we hear firsthand from a survivor of the 1979 Iranian hostage crisis, as he recently shared his experience with students at Easton Area High School. For more, here's Focus reporter Grover Silcox.
Thank you, Laura. In 1979, Kevin Hermening was the youngest U.S. Marine Guard at the American Embassy in Tehran when student protesters breached the compound and took Kevin and 51 other Americans hostage for 444 days. Since that time, Kevin has spoken to groups around the country about the crisis and the true heroes of that pivotal episode in American history.
I was part of the last 12 Americans taken captive. And it was very frightening.
On the 37th anniversary of when the Iranian hostage crisis began, students and faculty of Easton Area High School, along with local U.S. Marine veterans, welcomed Kevin Hermening to speak about his experience as one of the 52 hostages held captive in the American Embassy in Tehran.
We had no idea. As the crowd gathered, they would begin scaling the compound walls. They would barge through the gate.
In 1979, at age 20, Kevin wasn't much older than these students when his world turned upside down as one of the U.S. Marine Guards assigned to the American Embassy in Tehran.
4 Marines and a few other servicemen in the main building against about 40,000 Iranians on the compound itself and about 800,000 people on the streets of Tehran.
Kevin's description of the fury outside the embassy walls painted a vivid picture for the students and their teachers.
I think it's always very humbling to hear a veteran talk about their experiences because I know that I would never want to put myself in those shoes.
The crisis erupted after Islamic fundamentalists overthrew the U.S.-backed Shah of Iran. When President Carter let the exiled Shah into the U.S. for cancer treatment, protesters broke into the embassy, took the Americans hostage, and vowed to keep them until the Shah was returned.
For 444 days, I sat in Iran not knowing the next day what I was going to eat, whether they were going to come in and kill us.
Kevin and his fellow hostages endured isolation, deprivation, threats, and even mock executions.
As the guy shouted out execution commands, they all pulled the triggers on empty chambers. Scared the crap out of all of us.
The whole nation focused on the fate of the hostages.
It was interesting to realize that this was such a monumental event.
Your parents and grandparents prayed for us daily, put yellow ribbons around their trees.
In April 1980, the U.S. military launched a failed rescue mission, which left 8 American servicemen dead.
8 men's bodies burning on the desert floor were left behind that night. As the rest of the team escaped, many of whom were severely burned and injured. I begin all of my presentations by recognizing the real heroes in the hostage crisis. Sergeant John Harvey, Major Richard Backey, Corporal George Holmes Jr., Staff Sergeant Dewey Johnson, Major Hal Lewis Jr., Tech Sergeant Joel Mayo, Captain Charles McMillan II, and Captain Lynn McIntosh. And they paid the ultimate price, as did, of course, their families.
The hostages were finally released on January 20th, 1981, the day Ronald Reagan was inaugurated president.
It was a very emotional time, because I'll tell you what, as bad as our time was in captivity, to varying degrees, and it was a roller coaster physically and emotionally, the real difficulty was for our family members back here.
Kevin and the other American hostages returned home to a hero's welcome. Since that time, Kevin has offered support to his fellow veterans, especially Vietnam vets, who didn't get the same welcome when they returned home. Kevin also became an advocate for the Special Operations Warrior Foundation.
About 99.7% of the money raised goes to pay for education for the orphaned kids of our special operators who passed in service to our country. It was founded as a result of the failed rescue mission in April of 1980.
After the crisis and his hitch in the Marines, Kevin pursued a successful career in business. But he always found time to share his story and his gratitude for living in a free society.
And I think it's important that all the students and faculty in our school understand that the freedoms and the liberties that we have and why we get it because of events like this.
He has clearly taken a very difficult experience in his life. He has come from that with a message to new generations of Americans to volunteer to make a difference, to help make America stronger and better. And that is a tremendous message for our young people to hear.
Despite our challenges, despite our disagreements, despite our economic problems, become involved in your community. Because to me, there is no greater place on this earth than the United States of America. Thank you so very much for having me here this afternoon. Thank you.
To focus on Grover Silcock's report.
As part of its President's Series, the PBS program American Experience chronicles the Iranian hostage crisis in the documentary titled Jimmy Carter. To view this program and many more, visit pbs.org/American Experience. In our next story, we continue to focus on education and specifically a character education program called The Leader in Me. For more, we turn to Focus reporter Brittany Garzillo. Brittany?
What would happen if leadership and life skills were taught at the core of school classrooms? Thousands of schools worldwide have adopted this process through a program called The Leader in Me. To learn how it impacts local elementary school students, we traveled to Spring Garden Elementary School in Bethlehem.
Before you step foot into Spring Garden Elementary School in Bethlehem, words of wisdom welcome you.
From the minute that you pull up to the curb, you know that something's different here.
Students called being leaders are...
Here, students learn to lead to succeed. Spring Garden's principal, Eric Smith, says in 2012, the school adopted a process to teach students leadership and life skills through a program called The Leader in Me.
So it's about teaching leadership principles to the kids and to the adults. It's about examining the culture of your school so that the whole school is, I like to say, rowing in the same direction.
A direction guided by the best-selling book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, written by the late Dr. Stephen Covey. Spring Garden represents one of about 3,000 schools worldwide to adopt the Leader in Me process.
When I came here, they taught me about the habits and it really changed my life.
Displayed throughout hallways and on signs within classrooms, The 7 habits serve as daily reminders to help empower students to find the leaders within themselves.
Be proactive, begin with the end in mind, put first things first, think win-win, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Synergize and sharpen the saw. They've changed my life because you can play with people even if they're different. That's like my favorite habit, synergize.
Looking for co-editors who want to work together and who...
The habits permeate the school's culture. For example, watch how they're applied by the 5th grade club called the Spring Garden Scoop, as students work together to publish a monthly newsletter.
A lot of the habits are very ingrained in the whole activity. It's real-world kind of things that they're doing, and it really is things that they will need in their future. Like, begin with the end in mind. The students have to come up with an idea for the paper. They have to collaborate together, which is synergize, one of my most favorite habits. And they really have to listen to each other, seek to understand each other when they have to give and take about the newspaper.
The nonprofit organization Leader Lehigh Valley helps fund Leader in Me programs throughout more than 30 schools in the Lehigh Valley, and they add more schools each year.
Smaller, very good. So which of those
There will be 43 schools, and it will be affecting roughly 20,000 students. We will put the Leader in Me in every school for $14,000 a year. That works out to only $25 a student.
When we think about the workforce needs, we need to start in elementary school, and the Leader in Me is a solution for that, a solution to create a better workforce.
We believe that we can enable greatness, and that might mean something completely different to every person, and that's kind of the whole point, is that you choose what your greatness is, but we want to give you the tools and hopefully empower you to be able to do that.
Meg Thompson is the General Manager of Education for Franklin Covey, the global organization that offers the Leader in Me process.
What we've seen in our schools across the board is attendance usually goes up, discipline referrals go down. We have schools that reported lower incidents of bullying.
I think the biggest change is in ownership. Students taking ownership of their learning, taking ownership of their leadership opportunities, really wanting to be an active part in their education and in their life.
Outcomes like ownership have helped Spring Garden become the first school in the state of Pennsylvania to achieve a Lighthouse milestone, the highest designation awarded by Franklin Covey for outstanding achievement.
For me, it's not about an award or a banner that goes on the wall. It really just means that we're doing great things for kids. We're preparing kids for jobs that don't even exist yet. And so when they go for that career that really is just a dream in our eyes right now, these habits are going to serve them well as they move forward. And so what they get at Spring Garden will stay with them throughout their whole life.
For Focus, I'm Brittany Garzillo, reporting.
Thank you, Brittany. The theme of character education continues now with the Girl Scouts as their contingent in eastern Pennsylvania celebrates its 100th year of selling cookies.
The Girl Scouts was founded in 1912 in Savannah, Georgia by Juliette Gordon Lowe. She founded the Girl Scouts because she really wanted a place for girls to pursue leadership opportunities. So the mission of Girl Scouts is to build girls of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place.
My mom was always a Girl Scout, my grandma was always a Girl Scout, so I guess we always say that it's in our blood because we all were really involved in it. My mom signed me up for a Daisy Troop, and then I guess I was hooked.
All of our girls are really invested in making the community a better place at the very earliest ages. So we're really building the next generation of volunteers and philanthropists.
I think Girl Scouts has taught me a lot of responsibility and that you can have fun while being productive at the same time. And I think that's one of the most important things Girl Scouting has taught me. And I think all those little lessons have really added up to help me become who I am today.
Even though only 1 in 10 girls are in Girl Scouts, 80% of women leaders were Girl Scouts.
I wouldn't have had the opportunities that I've had, like to go to Mexico. That's also giving back. We did some service projects down there when we went. It's very important because it teaches you about the world around you. I think that's also really important, to know who else you're living with and to be able to work with them.
Most of our troops participate in the Girl Scout cookie program, and they learn goal setting, business skills, and different leadership skills that you have to take on to start your own business. So we offer 4 resident camps and 3 day camps that are spread throughout the region.
Well, I've definitely learned to accept, and it's really good because Girl Scouts is all about like friendship and being kind to one another.
Camp is a really great opportunity to connect with girls from all over our footprint.
Even from working at camp, I have made connections in England, New Zealand, Germany. It opens up a world of opportunities.
So this is the state of Pennsylvania, and this little heart is where camp is, and it's just to remind me like what camp's taught me and stuff like that. Girl Scouting is a place where people develop lifelong friendships and leadership skills. Those memories last forever. It really empowers me to do a great job so that I can make sure that these girls have the opportunity to build our community and make it a better place.
Thank you to our partners at ASR Media and the Peak TV for that segment. To continue the conversation, I'm now joined by some very special guests. From the Girl Scouts of Eastern Pennsylvania, we welcome Liz D'Angel, as well as 10-year-old Lucy Chelton, who you may recognize as the winner of Food Network's Chopped Junior series. Lucy and Liz are cooking up a special program with Mark Demko and Michael Hoffman, who join us from Arts Quest. So thank you so much for joining us. Liz, tell us about what the Girl Scouts do with the funding from the cooking drives.
Sure. So at Girl Scouts of Eastern Pennsylvania, we are all about building girls of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place. Lucy is a great example of one of those girls, and the cookie program is one of our staple opportunities where girls get to learn leadership skills and important decision-making skills, people skills. And what's really exciting this year is that we are celebrating our 100th anniversary of girls selling cookies. So we're really excited about that. And with the proceeds that the girls raise, they get to decide what they want to do with them. So Lucy, and other girls get to decide they want to go to camp or they want to give back to their community. It's just one of the exciting things girls get to do in Girl Scouts.
Lucy, how has being a Girl Scout made an impact on your life?
Well, I learned how to talk to people more and how to open up with my community, and I've learned different projects and different patches along the way. So,
Liz and Mark, you're celebrating an exciting event coming up to help raise additional funding for the Girl Scouts. Mark, will you fill us in?
Sure. We do the Girl Scout Cookie Crunch. It's a partnership between Arts Quest and the Girl Scouts of Eastern Pennsylvania. It started about 3 years ago, and the genesis was really my wife is a troop leader. My daughter's been a Girl Scout for the past 5 years. I know how hard they work during the cookie sale season, through February and March, raising proceeds to do activities and educational experiences. So we really wanted to shine the spotlight on the Girl Scouts. We have about 15 to 17 chefs every year who come together and make great desserts and dishes made with Girl Scout cookies.
Which is where Michael and Lucy come in. So Michael, the last time you were here, you brought bugs.
Bugs, yeah.
This is much more appetizing.
No bugs.
What'd you bring today?
Today we did a bacon mac and cheese using smoked Gouda American cheese, and we used Berkshire pork belly in it as the bacon, and I used cavatappi pasta.
So will you tell us a little bit about the recipe and how somebody could make this at home, or, of course, come and sample it?
Absolutely. We are going to be at the Girl Scout Cookie Crunch event as well. We are also going to get the recipe for everybody as well. So.
Great, and we'll have that on our website at WLVT.org. So what do you do if this is something you'd like to make at home?
I think one of the biggest mistakes people get nervous about making mac and cheese at home is they make it and it tastes grainy, and the key to that is using whole cheeses versus shredded cheeses. Shredded cheeses have an anticoagulant in it, which kind of makes kind of a gummy sauce. So every time I do it, I usually use a well-melted cheese, kind of like I have a smoked Gouda here. All you want to do on this is to peel the rind off. The rind is where all the smoke is, and it's kind of rubbery as well, so you don't want to, to go that route with that on there. You're just going to get hard chunks of bad cheese in there. So, and then you grate it on a box grater. This is the same box grater you'd buy at any other box store anywhere in America, and pretty much everybody has one of these. We don't use anything fancy in the kitchen. We just use a box grater. And even when we're cooking for a couple hundred people, I have 2 or 3 people just rubbing it along the box grater and just getting what you're looking for as a very nice coarse ground cheese that will melt easily. So.
Now, Lucy, will you be trying some of your skills at the event?
With 10 to 12 girls, I'm doing a no-bake dessert, teaching them how to do one of them.
Do you have your recipe yet, or are you still working on it?
No, I'm still working on it.
Can you disclose which cookie you're thinking about using?
Well, I want to use the s'mores because there's multiple elements in it and they're new, so.
Very cool. Well, would you show us some of your skills? Maybe do some grading for us while we learn where the shortbread comes into this recipe, Michael?
Sure. So whenever we want to do this, I use American cheese as well. It's just a processed cheese and it melts really well and it kind of thickens the sauce. The sauce itself is a gluten-free sauce. The pasta kind of ruins the gluten-free option, but with so many gluten allergies out there, if you use a rice pasta or anything to that effect, again, without the cookie as well, you could do this gluten-free. So if you want to shred some cheese, and you can just, all we want to do is run it along the box grater, and then on top we did put, I like using the shortbread cookie, excuse me, earlier we were talking, and my favorite cookie to work with is the Thin Mint, but the shortbread really applies to this really well, almost like a southern type baked mac and cheese. We just ground it up a little, so you still have some big chunks to it to give it some texture. We sauteed it in with a little butter, salt, pepper, and some fresh herbs just to give it a little flavor and take some of the sweetness away. The great thing is the shortbreads don't have too much sugar in it, so they don't really burn when you bake them off. And just pop it in the oven and bake it off for a little bit.
All right. Well, Lucy, we certainly want to know what you think. Should we all take a sample? Should we all try it? Absolutely. Lucy and Michael, would you pass us a spoon? Yep. Now, Liz, I understand you're not going to be able to try it out.
Yes, I'm actually a vegan, so I won't be sampling this exciting dessert. But at Cookie Crunch on February 26th, there will be many, many options for vegans and vegetarians. We have many Girl Scout cookies that are vegan flavored, and there is a vegan restaurant that's going to be participating in Cookie Crunch. So there's something for everyone at the event.
Fantastic. Well, as we wrap up our show, I want to thank everybody for joining us. Mark, as a parent, what does this mean to you to see these funds raised and put to great use?
You know, it's really exciting because it's really helping to raise funds for a great cause. The Girl Scouts are teaching such wonderful life skills. When girls are selling cookies, they're learning about finances, it's team building, it's teamwork, and it's really helping them to build skills they're going to use the rest of their life.
Well, this is delicious, Michael. This is a little sweet on the top, and it's almost... it's very creamy in its texture, and I'd love to hear when she's done chewing what Lucy thinks. She's used to getting critique. What do you think of this?
I like it. It has balanced flavor. Like, it's not too sweet, but it's not too salty.
I think we have a future judge for the next year's Cookie Crunch.
Future chef, yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. Until then, remember to focus on what matters.
This program is recorded at the PPL Public Media Center at PBS 39 in Bethlehem.